Hi, my name is Amy Mozzie, and I'm with Supreme Boats. And today I'm going to walk you through the all new 2027 Supreme S240. This boat is 24 feet long and rated for 16 passengers, and it is a boatload of fun. Whether you're interested in pursuing a surf career or you just want to get out and enjoy water sports. But let's walk through it together. The Supreme S240 has a more traditionally shaped bow, but it's still modified slightly. It's a little bit wider, which allows for extra space on the interior of the bow, but it also gives it a unique look. It's not that same really tapered point that most older boats come to in the bow area. It's what we would call a modified V bow. So it's still a little wider than normal, which is a great benefit when you're on the inside of the boat, but it also provides function and benefit on the outside of the boat. If you notice, there are almost fish gill shaped lines built into the bow or leading up to the bow from the side of the boat. What those are is outside chine lines. What they allow the boat to do is when it's coming up over a lot of times its own rollers, it can come down and push the water away. Why is that significant to you? It doesn't allow the water to come over the bow and into the interior of the boat. And that helps, especially the driver, navigate those what can be large rollers when you're surfing or wakeboarding behind the S240. You also have a step on the front of the bow of the S240. It's gator stepped, and if you were boarding the boat from the bow, you've got a nice flat place to put your feet that also has non-skid on it, so you can enter the boat from there sure-footedly. You can also opt for docking lights on the front of the S240. These docking lights can help you navigate a dock location or pulling up to your houseboat, even at night. They're well placed and they're out of the way as well. They don't stand out too much. So they do their job when they're needed, and when they're not, they're kind of out of sight, out of mind. The S240 has a lot going on in the bow area of the boat. Some built for form, comfort, and style, some built for function, but there is a lot going on in the front of this boat. The 2027 Supreme S240 comes standard with the smooth glass windshield. This windshield is not only beautiful to look at, it's made by Verilex, and it offers some pretty unique function. Because it has kind of a cropped wing, you have the ability to reach out when you're coming in to dock, and you can also hear your rider, especially when they've fallen and you're circling around to pick them up without standing up and trying to talk to them over the windshield. It gives you that ability. It also looks awesome. It has a hanging glass wing that gives it the illusion of kind of disappearing into the boat. And it looks really cool. It goes well with the lines of the S240. You also have standard pull-up cleats on the S240, 6 of them to be exact. You've got a couple on either side of the bow, a couple on either side of the boat midship, and then a couple on either side of the rear of the S240. These pull-up cleats are really, really convenient because they give you that many more tie-off points so that you can secure the boat to the dock. That's really important just because you never know when you're pulling up to a dock where those cleats on the dock are going to be located. And we want you to be able to keep your Supreme S240 as safe and secure as possible. The Supreme S240 is available to be customized. In fact, it comes in a core gel coat scheme, and you can choose between 19 different colors on the main panel of color on the side of the boat. 8 of those colors are metal flake colors that are available. And the metal flake color you see behind me is actually brilliant sky blue metal flake. It is a beautiful shade of blue. But there's 7 other metal flake colors that you can adorn your 240 with. It can be all yours, signature you. It depends on what you want to color it. You also have the ability to have a new tower for this year. This is the Bolt Auto Tower by Protomet. This tower is an auto tower. It goes up and down with a button press that's located in the center of the tower. Essentially, you hold the button and the tower comes down. You push the other button and the tower comes up. It's as easy as that. It also has a standard bimini that comes with this tower. It's called the leverage bimini. It's extremely easy to put up and take down. Even one person, my height, I'm about 5'7" on a good day, I can put that bimini up and down in a matter of minutes. It's very easy to deal with. You can also get some options on this tower, one of which is the racks, Bombshell 1.0 racks. These racks are surfboard racks that will also accommodate wakeboards. But the great thing about these racks is they can accommodate as wide as a 23-inch surfboard, and they secure it well. So they take care of it. There are no individual pressure points that are going to dent your board. We all know how expensive a surfboard can be, and we want to be able to protect that investment with the care that a Bombshell 1.0 rack can provide. The Bolt Auto Tower comes in black or white, and it is the perfect accompaniment to the S240. As we move down the side of the S240, we run into a few more customizable elements. One, you can customize the color of the rub rail. So it can either be black or white, and then it has a stainless steel insert that goes in the center of it. That stays consistent. You can also customize the Chromex badge that's on the back of the boat and says Supreme. You can get that in silver, you can get it in matte black or white. That can really set off the look of your Supreme boat. Also, towards the rear of the boat, you'll find another pull-up cleat as well as the dual gas fills. Now, it may not sound like a big deal to have a fuel fill on both sides of the boat, but when you have a tow vehicle that fills on one side or the other, and you want to just be able to pull into the fuel station one way and fill both your truck and your boat, it comes in really, really handy. You also have a model designator carved into the rear vent that is a fresh air vent. What that means is that vent allows fresh air to funnel through to the engine and allows the engine to run cooler and more efficiently, so you get better fuel efficiency. There's a lot of customization built into the S240. There's also a lot of function and customer benefit. It's all for you. The Supreme S240 is built on the Easy V hull. It's a modified deep V. What does that mean? It essentially allows you to have a great rough water ride, a smooth rough water ride, because it has an aggressive V shape to the bottom of the boat. That V extends all the way from the keel, right beneath the bow, all the way to the transom of the boat. That gives you that great shock absorption on a rough day on the lake. That is one of those things that is not typical in a towboat. But the modified part of it gives the hull balance. What it tends to happen with a deep V hull is it can be sensitive to side weight shift. In other words, when the weight is dissimilar from side to side inside the boat can tend to lean one way or the other, which may not be super uncomfortable for you inside the boat, but it can really affect negatively the shape of your wave or wake. So what we've done is we've built in lifting pads to the back of the S240 that allow that balance to take place. It lifts the heaviest part of the boat and gives it balance and prevents that side-to-side weight shift and really gives you a consistent wake surf wave or a wakeboard wake. And they're both easily achievable. At the same time, you have great handling with the S240. You're able to maneuver this boat in tight spaces at slow speeds, at high speeds. The turning is not unwieldy. You have great control over the handling of the S240, and that's all thanks to the Easy V running surface. But once you're ready to ride, you want to displace that running surface. And another advantage that a deep B has is it displaces more water with less weight. The S240 is available with 4,800 pounds of ballast, and it's located in 6 different areas of the boat. It's filled by sea flow pumps that fill and drain at a rate of 13.5 gallons per minute. So it fills relatively quickly, and those ballast areas are located very evenly throughout the boat from front to back. So it allows the entire running surface, the entire EasyV hull to displace water. That's what makes your surf wave long and tall at the same time. That's also what gives you that really symmetrical wakeboard wake. The EasyV hull works with the quick surf system to create the surf wave from side to side. And the quick surf system can change the surf wave from the port side to the starboard side or from the regular side to the goofy side in about 2 seconds. The transfer is that fast. And really, all it's doing is it's putting the quick surf tab down opposite the surf side and creating lift, which then displaces the surf corner and makes the curl. When you're ready to transfer, you just touch the vert screen at the dash and you can switch from surf left to surf right in a matter of seconds. It's that easy. And that's what the S240 is all about. The 2027 Supreme S240 comes standard with the Silent Stinger wake plate. And that wake plate does 2 things, just like the name suggests, is it makes the interior of the boat quiet. It also allows the boat to change its running attitude with your actuation. So when the plate goes down, the nose of the boat goes down. When the plate comes back up, the nose of the boat comes back up and sinks the back end a little bit deeper in the water. What that does is it changes the shape of your surf wave and or wakeboard wake. The other thing, the silent part of it, is created because the engine exhaust is ported in through the top of the Silent Stinger wake plate, and there is water that is forced in through the bottom. The water and the exhaust tumble through a series of baffles that are built into the plate. And it does 2 things. It dampens the noise of the engine, so much so that the interior of the boat is as quiet as if you're sitting in your kitchen with the dishwasher running. The other piece of it is it dissipates the line that you can sometimes get from the exhaust in your surf wave. It makes the water turbulent enough where it dissipates that line so it won't grab your board, especially if you're trying to skim surf. It won't be an inconsistency in the wave itself. So the Silent Stinger wake plate does a lot, both in function and form. Another thing you might see under the swim step here are underwater lights. The underwater lights are an option, and they can also be controlled at the dash. They're nice, especially if you're allowed to surf at night on your lake, or if you just like to have that illumination behind the boat at night. It is a really pretty sight. But there are a lot of things for 2027 that are now standard on the S240, the Silent Stinger wake plate and Quick Surf being 2 of them. Once you're up on the swim step of the S240, you realize this is a tall boat, but that's on purpose. We call it freeboard, and this boat does have a lot of freeboard. The reason for that is we never want you to worry about taking water over the back of the boat nor over the bow. And when you're pulling a surfer and that surfer falls and you've got to kind of stop and go around to get them, we don't want there to be a chance that that wave is going to come into the boat and join you. That's the reason for the freeboard. That's why I'm so high up here. But the swim step itself is also really functional. It trails off towards the rear edge and allows kind of a rocker or a roll off towards the rear edge. And you can get up onto the swim step easily because it's shaped specifically to be that way. It's also really pretty to look at. It's got your gator step matching on it, so it's not slippery at all, but it's also got a nice shape. It's just got a unique style to it. And once you're up on it, you realize you've got a lot more comfort built into the back of the boat as well. I've got an expansive sun pad back here, and it's got storage built into it so I can store my shoes away or maybe a life vest or anything that I don't want to make it onto the inside of the boat. I can also store things that are wet because there are drains in both of these storage enclosures. But they also make great seats. They're super comfortable to sit on if I'm putting on a wakeboard or just hanging out here while the kids swim. I have access to my optional transom stereo remote back here, so I can even control the tunes from this seat. But if I really want to lounge, I can lay out on this big sun pad, throw a towel out, and be there for most of the day and be really, really comfortable. But the S240 is made for function. It's beautiful to look at, but it's also very, very comfortable, even on the back of the boat. The 2027 Supreme S240 comes standard with the Bolt Auto Tower by Protomet. This tower is beautiful to look at. It goes with the lines of the boats, but the most special part about it is the fact that it is auto. The other thing that the Bolt Auto Tower allows me to do is have speakers in it. The dual thunder system, which is standard in the Supreme S240 and the Supreme S220 for 2027, is two Rev 12 speakers in the tower. If you opt for the quad thunder system, you'll have four 12s in the tower. And that system includes a 12-inch sub that is mounted, it's free air, so it's mounted in the driver footwell. You can also opt for a second Icon 12-inch sub that will be mounted in the walkthrough of the boat. This system can be built either standard or upgraded, and it sounds amazing. It's by Wet Sounds, and it looks great in the tower as well. Another really cool functional piece about the Bolt Auto Tower are the side tow hooks. So you can pull a surfer from either side of the tower. This helps a lot when you're teaching someone to surf because you can get them into that supreme wave without them having to come from the center and go over the top, dropping into the wave. That can be a little intimidating for somebody that's just learning to surf. So those side tow hooks really help, especially a beginner, get into a supreme wave. There's also a dome light located in the center of the Bolt Auto Tower, so it gives you some down lighting on the interior of the boat. This tower is not only beautiful, not only strong because it's well built by Protomet, but also very, very functional. When you step into the S240, you realize this is a 24-foot boat. It accommodates 16 passengers. It's big, and you can have a bunch of people in here and store all of their stuff. There's storage beneath all the seats and a lot of it. It's actually rhino lined underneath, so your stuff won't slip and slide around, and it's got a nice finished look to it. But yeah, you can store all kinds of stuff under these seats, enough for 16 people. But the seats themselves deserve mentioning. They're also very comfortable. And this year, you can get a couple different upholstery schemes in the S240. The scheme you see here is our hex accent scheme, and it's standard. you can customize the look of this scheme because we have 13 different colors available in the hex texture, which is what you see on the accent. Then you can customize between 9 different color choices on your main and your base. So the base is where you sit on the seat, and the main is the bolster that's really normally behind your knees. You can customize the look of this interior, and it stays looking nice. That's the other thing. So it's held together with Teflon thread, which is really, really strong. And you'll notice that anytime you have two pieces of vinyl that come together on the interior of the S240, it's not just held together by one single stitch. Normally, it's sewn twice, which we call a half stitch, or it's sewn 3 times in really high stress areas, which we call a French seam. You'll see that on the edges of the seats. So even if you're stepping down onto this upholstery, it's not going to break down as far as the seams are concerned. They're not going to pull apart. The other thing to note on the interior of this S240 is the foam. So it's beneath the upholstery, beneath the vinyl, but there are 3 different densities of it, and there's a reason for that. One is so that the seats themselves don't start to get indentions in them from people sitting on them or people stepping on them. The other is just for comfort. So there's a really dense layer of foam on the bottom, right near the seat base. On top of that, there's a little softer piece of foam, but still got some rigidity to it. And then right on top of that, right underneath the vinyl itself, is a really soft piece of foam. So it gives you not only great bounce back, where I can pinch the upholstery and then my pinch mark goes away immediately, but it allows for support and it's still comfortable to sit on. The way that these seats are constructed takes time, and we use some pretty costly material to do it, but it's so worth it because of the comfort and the longevity it creates on the interior of the S240. The other thing you have is customization available on the interior. Not only can you customize the color of your vinyl itself, you can customize the color of your flooring as well. So Gator Step flooring is standard in a single layer version in the S240, and that includes the uprights of the seat bases as well as the floor and the deck. So you can have all of that non-skid in a single layer. However, if you'd like to opt for a double layer configuration, you can do that as well. And you can choose between shark fin, black, and whiskey barrel as your 3 colors. And you can use those either on the top or on the bottom of that 2-layered scheme. You also have the ability to have access to cup holders just about everywhere on the interior of the S240. You've got 4 cup holders on each side of the lounge, and maybe even some of your passengers can have a couple drinks. But you've also got speakers built into those side panels where the cup holders reside, as well as a designator plate. It's made to be as beautiful as you want it to be, but also functional and comfortable at the same time. The interior of the S240 is made for 16 people, but even if there's only a couple people in the boat, they're going to be comfortable riding in the S240. The Supreme S240's observers area, or the OB as a lot of us call it, is extremely comfortable and accommodating. It's a wide seat. You can sit a couple of people here. You have a machined grab handle within reach. You've got cup holders on the dash. It's a great place to sit in the boat. And you have some control in this seat. You can access the glove box, and here you've got control over your battery management system as well as your PDM breaker panel. And this system allows you to isolate your batteries, truly. So what that means is I can be in a cove, swimming, hanging out with the engine off and running my lights and my stereo just off the house battery by turning that battery on and my engine battery off. And then I have to turn the tie off between the two. So there's 2 buttons that would be in the off position, one button that would be in the on position for the house battery. That will allow me to utilize the power from that house battery without endangering or lowering the power level of my engine cranking battery, so that when I'm ready to go back to the dock, I can do it. All I have to do is turn my connection between the two batteries back on and my engine battery, and I'm ready to go. I don't have to worry about the opportunity of being stranded because I've run my batteries down listening to too many great tunes through my dual thunder wet sound system. So the other thing I have access to is my PDM breaker panel. What that is access to PDMs throughout the boat. They are little brains that tell the boat how to act in certain areas of the boat, but they are literally located all over the place. And in years past, if you were having a technical issue and a tech was having to walk you through troubleshooting that issue, you would have to find each of those PDMs to reset them. Not anymore. Now you have a panel that's located in the glove box where you can reset those PDMs from there. Now, make sure you're doing it at the advice of a technician that's trained and certified by Supreme, but it's really easy to do in case there's ever a problem when you're out on the water. The other thing you have access to is a PowerPoint in this glove box. If you've opted for the battery charger, you can plug that in the glove box as well. And the passenger has quick access to all of that. But there is one thing that the passenger is blocking. The passenger is blocking the largest storage area in this boat, and that is the observer storage area that's behind the lean back here. This is a cavernous storage area. You can store some really big stuff here, but be careful. If you start to put smaller items in this area, they may get lost or may be a little bit difficult to find when you're ready to use them. But this is a great place to store big bags of gear or maybe even your boat cover from time to time. We store the optional wind block here. It's a great place to put that piece because it tends to be pretty long. But it's a great option for you to use as storage. And like I said, it's big, so it can accommodate a lot of gear. If you're a dawn patrol boater or an all-season boater and you have an S240, you might want to opt for the wind block, which slides into a channel right in front of the windshield. And once you close your windshield door on the smooth glass windshield, it makes a really sheltered area in here for the observer and the driver. There's also an optional heater which has a snorkel that's mounted in the walkthrough that can be pulled out and put under a blanket for after you get off the water. It's made to be a boat that is cool in the summer, of course, but if you're getting out there in early mornings or you're boating in the fall and winter, you definitely want to check out the wind block and heater options. Trust me. Brand new in the 2027 Supreme S240 is the Vert Dash system. This system, it allows you to have control over all of the boat's functions, but in a really unique and functional way. This screen is turned on end, so it is a vertical screen, and it's on my right side, so it doesn't obstruct my view of the water in front of me. In fact, the dash now in the S240 is really low, so I can see everything over it. But I also have a lot of control with this screen. My home screen gives me all of my system data that I need from time to time, namely my engine data. So I know what my battery levels are, I know what my engine temp is, I know what the water temp is if I need that, and the PSI on the engine itself. So from here, I can hit the wave button and it gives me access not only to my quick surf and my center tab, which is the Silent Stinger wake plate, and I can put one more button press and I've got ballast access as well from this wave menu. And this gives me the ability to fill all of my ballast areas. The S240 can have as many as 6 different ballast locations. 3 of those are optional and 3 of them are standard. They are all pumped, both fill and drain, with a C-flow pump that pumps 13.5 gallons per minute of water. Whether you're filling or draining, it does it really fast in the S240. But we've got all of those different locations available, and it's pretty evenly spaced from the front to the back of the boat so that the entire running surface of the boat is displaced when you are making a surf wave or making a wakeboard wake. This allows you to have bigger of both. And it's really easy to do. And if I want to fill all of my ballast, I can just with one touch of the screen. If I want to really tailor my ballast, depending on what I'm trying to do behind the boat, I can do that as well. I can fill all of those ballast areas independent of one another. I can also access all of my profiles from the surf menu. These are the profiles that come from the factory, but I can make as many as 32, and I can have a profile for everything. I can have Amy surf right or Matthew surf left, you name it, and we can put the profile in here. I can also save the boat just as it is set. What I mean by that is, let's say I start in a profile and I've adjusted it throughout the session and I change a little bit of the ballast. Maybe I drain a little of the ballast on the port side because we're surfing on the starboard side. We're surfing goofy. And so I can do that, I get it set up, and I hear from my surfer, my rider, that, oh my gosh, this is perfect. I just hit the 360 I've been working on for months. I want you to save this. All I have to do is touch the Save As button on this profile screen, and the S240 will save the way it is set at that moment. So the way the ballast is configured, all of the plate positions, whether it be quick surf or the silent stinger wake plate, will be saved. So I don't have to remember the settings that I had when he hit that epic move behind the boat. The boat does it all for me. And it's really easy to access. I also have the option of mapping in this boat. So if I had the GPS mapping up, you would be able to see it here. You can see the lake, the contours of the bottom of the lake, as well as the different coves, and be able to easily navigate no matter where you are. I also have access to all of my switching. So whether it be lights or a heater or heated seat, I can access that here. And most importantly, I have access to my stereo through the screen. But I also have kind of old school access to the stereo function with my stereo remote that's located at the bottom of the screen. The great thing about the stereo remote from Wet Sounds is it has a big volume knob right in the middle of it. So if I need to turn the tunes down really quickly, I can just grab that volume knob and do that. A lot of times you'll find that you need to do that when you're coming back around to pick up a rider. You want to be able to hear what they're saying to you. The smooth glass windshield allows that communication, but if your stereo is too loud, you won't be able to hear them anyway, especially with the Wet Sound stereo that's installed in this boat. I also have access to my settings menu, which is a lot of general settings where you can set your display brightness, you could set some of your preferences. You can also look at your engine diagnostics, PDM diagnostics, a lot of technical stuff, but you have easy access to it if you need it. And when I go home, I'm here at my home screen. There's not much going on the home screen other than the Supreme logo and my engine data, as well as my set speed and my miles per hour. But this is what the Vert dash system offers you. And along with some of the other thoughtful elements on the dash, like the wireless clamping cell phone charger, which is standard, and these smaller cubbies for storage, this particular driver's area is extremely functional and really made for the driver of the S240. One of the most comfortable places to sit in the 2027 Supreme S240 is the bow. I know that that's counterintuitive in a water sports boat. Typically, the bow is the bumpiest part of the boat. But with the deep V, you have a really smooth ride up here. You also have a really comfortable ride just because the bow is built comfortably. You've got all of this plush vinyl to sit on. I have the availability of a filler cushion so I can make the bow a playpen style if I want, where it's just all cushion, or I can opt for not having the filler cushion and make this into a small lounge. But the bow in the S240 is really big. I can sit here with my feet out and they don't touch the front of the bow. I also have really easy access to machined grab handles made by Protomet. I have speakers, cup holders, a lot of comfort built into the bow that makes it a really attractive place to just chill out. I hope you've enjoyed learning about the 2027 Supreme S240. This Supreme can be the perfect size. It can accommodate as many passengers as you'd like, up to 16. It can give you that next great surf session or just allow you some wonderful family time on the lake. But don't just take my word for it. Visit your local Supreme Boats dealer and let us prove it to you on the water today.